The comfort of predictable screens. So come on in, grab a seat, and get comfortable. Seriously, imagine you're just sinking into the coziest couch imaginable after a very, very long day. We all have those days, right? The kind where the world just feels, well, a bit too loud, a bit too demanding. Today in this explainer, we're going to unpack a habit you probably engage in pretty regularly. And honestly, it's one you might even feel a tiny bit guilty about. But I'm here to tell you, you are doing exactly what you need to be doing. Let's dive right into the science behind our screen time habits.
Watching that same sitcom for the 10th time? Yeah, let me ask you about that. You know exactly what I mean. You sit down, remote in hand, and you literally have access to hundreds of critically acclaimed, award-winning new dramas. Everyone at work is raving about that intense new sci-fi thriller, right? But what do? You completely bypass all of it and click on the exact same episode of The Office or Friends or Parks and Rec that you've already seen a dozen times. It's right then that the binge-watching guilt creeps in. We tell ourselves we're just being lazy or uncultured, but actually, scratch that. I'm officially revoking that guilt for you right now.
Because the source material reveals something absolutely fascinating. Hitting replay on that old favorite, it isn't about boredom at all. It's actually a way for your nervous system to find safe predictability in a world that feels increasingly overwhelming. Think about that. Your habit isn't a lack of imagination. It's a brilliant, completely subconscious survival mechanism. When the world outside your door is chaotic, your nervous system is working overtime. So choosing a familiar show is just your body's incredibly smart way of hitting the emergency brake and seeking out safety.
The exhausted brain. Let's build on this and look at what's actually happening inside your head. It really comes down to this one simple concept. Throughout the day, real-life stress is just overwhelming. Every decision you make, every email you answer, every stressful news alert you get, it actively drains your cognitive bandwidth. It requires constant adaptation. But on the flip side, you have low-stakes TV. It is utterly predictable and requires absolutely zero cognitive bandwidth. You don't have to figure out who the killer is. You don't have to memorize the names of 10 new characters in some fantasy realm. You already know for a fact that the main characters are going to resolve their silly little misunderstanding in exactly 22 minutes. It is literally the perfect antidote to real-life stress.
The 1% battery rule. Think of it like this. Imagine your phone. When it's at 100%, you can run heavy apps, stream 4K video, use the GPS, the whole shebang. But when that battery icon turns red and hits 1%, what happens? The phone goes into low power mode. It dims the screen. It stops background refreshes. It only does the bare minimum to stay alive. Well, at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, your brain is often at 1%. You simply do not have the internal RAM left to process a complex, intense new plotline. Your brain is basically forcing you into low power mode.
The science of comfort. So, you really shouldn't fight it. In fact, let's validate your television choices even further by looking at the actual science here. The source material points us to a very specific term for this, the incubation effect. It's a psychological process where familiar content provides a safe break, allowing an exhausted mind to recover. It's kind of like putting a cast on a broken bone, but, for your mind. Because you already know every single beat of the story, your brain doesn't have to do any active predicting or problem solving. This incubation period allows your subconscious to rest, repair itself, and slowly build your mental energy back up for the next day.
Lowers cortisol. And the benefits aren't just psychological, they are deeply physical. Sitting with familiar content actively lowers cortisol, our primary stress hormone. When you're dealing with that overwhelming world we talked about, cortisol is just pumping through your veins, keeping you on high alert. But when you wrap yourself up in the blanket of a familiar sitcom, your body registers that you are safe. There are no surprises coming. And as a result, your cortisol levels actually drop. This low-stakes entertainment is essentially medical magic. It actively shifts your physiology from fight or flight straight to rest and digest.
So, the biological benefits of rewatching are actually quite profound. You get safe predictability to counter a highly unpredictable world. You get low-stakes entertainment to soothe a very high-stakes life. And ultimately, you get genuine relief from an overwhelming world. There is just a beautiful, profound safety in knowing exactly what your favorite character is going to do next, exactly which joke is coming up, and exactly how the whole story will end.
Ready for your prescription? We've covered the psychology, the biology, and the sheer logic of why we do this. So, as we wrap up our little session today, I have to ask, are you ready for it? Because if your cognitive bandwidth is drained and your nervous system is literally begging for a break, it is time to listen to it. Go watch your favorite episode tonight. Here is your official permission slip from your friendly neighborhood explainer. Kick back, hit play, and let your brain fully recharge. Don't feel guilty for a single second. Embrace the incubation effect and lower that cortisol.
But I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder as you grab that remote. In a world that demands we constantly seek out the new and the next, isn't it wonderful that some of our deepest healing comes from the things we already know by heart? So, what is the comfort show that brings you back to 100%? Think about that tonight.